Number 10, we have Khloe Kardashian with an incredible 302 million followers. Just staggering. She's our entry point into this like ultra exclusive club. And her presence right away tells you something about a certain kind of
It
influence.
really does. And Chloe's content, it's actually quite specific, even within that whole Kardashian-Jenner world that's always in the spotlight. The sources point out her focus is primarily wholesome family shots. That feels like a deliberate choice. Despite all the fame, the reality TV storylines that can be quite sensational, her account often gives this more curated, maybe even sanitized glimpse into their family life. Like it leans less into the drama, more into motherhood, family bonds, those sort of relatable moments. Well, relatable, but still set against this backdrop of extreme wealth, obviously.
Right.
And that specific focus, that niche, it really resonates. It gives people a feeling of connection, maybe accessibility. It builds that parasocial bond we hear about. Followers feel like they're getting a peek at the normal side of this extraordinary life. It kind of humanizes the mega celebrity.
That's really interesting. It does make you wonder, though, for someone so deeply embedded in that world of, manufactured drama and constant public watching, does focusing so hard on wholesome family shots ever feel, I don't know, a bit off? Or is it maybe that exact contrast that pulls people in? How do they walk that line between total glam and trying to seem relatable?
That's a really sharp point. It's a delicate balance, absolutely.
Right.
But I think it works because people know the background context. Chloe's, let's call it wholesome content, works almost as a counter narrative to what you might see on TV. It taps into a different need, maybe, that desire to see famous people doing normal things like raising kids. The glamour isn't gone, of course. The lighting's perfect, the clothes are designer, the houses are stunning. But the subject is family, kids. That's inherently appealing to a lot of people. It's not like she's trying to pretend she's not famous. It's more about showing this softer side that feels a bit more accessible. And that mix creates this layered appeal. You get the aspiration, the lifestyle, but also the sense of, oh, she deals with kid stuff too. Even if her kid stuff looks very different, it builds loyalty beyond just entertainment.
Okay, so from that carefully curated family world, let's shift gears a bit to a different kind of mogul. Beyonce, she's sitting at number 9, 310 million followers, and her Instagram, yeah, it's like a masterclass in controlling your image and amplifying your brand. This is where it gets like really interesting because her account feels so purposeful. Every post seems to land with impact.
Oh, absolutely. Beyonce's Instagram isn't just random pictures. It's a very carefully crafted extension of her entire career. Her brand, it's like her personal, direct channel to shape her narrative. The sources mention her being, quote, hot off a successful awards season for her latest album, Cowboy Carter. And that's not just a casual comment. You see it reflected on her feed, posts amplifying her wins, maybe behind-the-scenes glimpses of her creative work in the studio, planning visuals, whatever. Stunning shots from award shows. But it's not just the music. Her platform is strategic. It showcases her business side, too. We saw her latest Levi's partnership promoting her new fragrance release. It's all woven in seamlessly. Every single post feels intentional. Like a carefully chosen piece of this bigger artistic and business story she's telling. And lets fans not just admire the art, but engage with the whole empire, feel part of her journey, wonder what's next. It's definitely less spontaneous, more about sheer impact. A controlled media channel, really.
Yeah, that curation is legendary, isn't it? But I wonder, with that much control, that tightly managed narrative, does it maybe limit that feeling of spontaneous connection with fans? Or is that control actually part of the appeal, like this untouchable aspirational digital fortress? And how does she make those planned moments still feel authentic, not just ads?
That's a really perceptive question. I think for an artist like Beyonce, that control is a huge part of the aspiration.
Yeah.
Her Instagram isn't set up for, casual daily back and forth like maybe a lifestyle vloggers would be. It's not about that. It's about presenting this perfected, incredibly high quality vision that matches her status as a global icon. The authenticity, I think, comes less from raw, unedited moments and more from the sheer emotional power of her art itself and the genuine excitement around what she creates.
Right, the work speaks for itself.
Exactly. So when she posts about Cowboy Carter or a new perfume, it's not just an ad in the traditional sense. It's seen as an extension of her artistry, her personal brand. Fans aren't really looking for her to post a picture of her breakfast, They want that glimpse into the genius, the strategy, the thing that creates these huge cultural moments. So she builds connection through the impact of her work, the lifestyle she represents. It makes her feed a destination for inspiration, for big announcements. It kind of sets the standard for how top artists use Instagram now.
Okay, let's circle back to the Kardashian-Jenner influence because coming in at number 8, we have Kim Kardashian. 356 million followers. Just massive.
Mhm.
And her account, well, it's often seen as the absolute blueprint for mixing personal brand with huge business success.
Yeah, Kim Kardashian's Instagram, the source nails it when it says it's as aesthetic as her. It really is. It's not just photos. It's like this living mood board of a very carefully curated, very aspirational life designed for maximum visual impact. Her content is this powerful mix. You get glimpses of her Skims brand, which she promotes heavily, obviously, but then also snippets of her family life, other big collaborations she's doing. The fashion theme of her posts is super strong. It's influential. And yeah, let's be real, it often creates serious glam envy, like the source says.
Oh, no.
Kim was really one of the pioneers in using Instagram for direct-to-consumer selling on a massive scale. She shows exactly how a celebrity's personal brand can just seamlessly merge with and drive enormous commercial success. She basically turned her own image into a sales channel. Every outfit, every trip, every family picture, it's all presented through this lens of aspirational beauty, but also business savvy. She's selling more than just products. She's selling a whole lifestyle, a look, a certain vision of success that millions want to emulate. Her posts can start trends overnight.
It really is a masterclass in modern influence in business. But beyond just the look, the aesthetic, what specific things does Kim do on Instagram that make her promotions, like for Skims, work so well? I mean, how do you convince 356 million people to not just look, but to actually buy?
Well, it's definitely a mix of things. First, I'd say it's authenticity adjacent promotion. That sounds a bit jargony, but
Okay.
what I mean is, while her life is obviously aspirational, she models her own stuff constantly. She shows how Skims fits into her life, even in seemingly casual moments. That builds a kind of trust. It's not some distant model, it's Kim. Second, she's mastered the scarcity and hype cycle. New Skims drops. They get announced with countdowns, exclusive previews, maybe big collabs with other celebs or influencers. Creates that gotta have it now feeling.
Like the buzz.
Exactly. Think about her campaign. She uses everyone from supermodels to cultural icons. She aligns the brand strategically. Third, just the sheer consistency and volume. Her feed is always active. Skims is always visible, always top of mind. And lastly, it's the storytelling around the product. Skims isn't just shapewear in her narrative. It's about comfort, feeling good in your body, inclusivity, messages that resonate with a lot of people right now. She communicates that visually in captions. It turns buying a product into buying into a lifestyle, a set of values. That blend of personal story and smart marketing is incredibly powerful.
Okay, let's shift focus a bit, but stick with global entertainers. Number 7, Ariana Grande, 374 million followers. Her career's taken some amazing turns, and her Instagram definitely seems to track that journey.
Yeah, Ariana Grande's feed, especially lately, has really mirrored her professional moves. It shows the power of having that multi-hyphenate career, singer, actress, businesswoman. The source calls her the star of recent Wicked fame, and that's totally accurate. Her account has been, as they say, heavily influenced by the recent release of Wicked. She's been sharing those behind-the-scenes pictures with Cynthia Erivo, her co-star, and that's not just casual sharing.
Right, it's strategic.
It's a smart way to give fans this unique, exclusive look inside a huge project they're all excited about. It creates that insider access feeling, makes followers feel connected to the actual making of this big movie. It also creates this great feedback loop, right? Her music fame drives interest in her acting, and Instagram is where it all comes together. It's her direct line to fans, showing glimpses of her creative process, whether she's making music, getting ready for a tour, or on a film set.
It really does show how artists with multiple talents, like Ariana, can use their platform to kind of cross-pollinate interest, keep relevant across different fields.
Yeah.
But how does she juggle that? The demands of being a massive pop star versus the intense process of making a movie, all on social media. Does one ever risk overshadowing the other or feeling, I don't know, forced?
That's a good point. It's about sophisticated branding these days, isn't it? I think Ariana manages it by sort of implicitly segmenting her content, but also by keeping her overall brand persona consistent. So yeah, the Wicked stuff has been big recently, but it's often framed as this exciting new chapter, not like she's abandoning music. She'll still drop music-related hints or maintain her signature visual style even when promoting the film. It reminds fans of who she is at her core. Plus, the behind-the-scenes nature of the film posts satisfies a different kind of fan curiosity, seeing the hard work, the teamwork involved in a big production. It's about showing the breadth of her talent and effort, which actually reinforces her image as this really dedicated artist. Fans generally appreciate seeing artists evolve and take on new challenges. And Instagram is the perfect place to document that, allowing these different storylines to run side by side rather than clashing.
Okay, let's move to a completely different kind of icon now. Someone whose influence comes from, well, pure physical presence, incredible discipline, and this really infectious motivational message, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Number 6, 392 million followers. So, what does his account tell us about inspiring fitness and personal growth on this huge global scale?
Well, if you need motivation, like the source says, The Rock's Instagram is your go-to. It really is. Dwayne Johnson has built this incredibly unique and effective online presence. His content isn't just about showing off his muscles, right? It's about sharing the process, the hard work, the sweat, and he delivers it with this genuine enthusiasm and relentless positivity. Followers get regular, pretty deep insights into his insane fitness routine, his movie projects, even bits of his personal life, like moments with his family.
Yeah, you see that.
But what's really valuable, I think, is the actionable advice. He often shares workout clips with the sets and reps listed out for you to try at home, if you're feeling brave, as the source amusingly adds.
Huh.
And that simple act transforms his feed from just look at this celebrity into a practical resource. Anyone wanting to improve themselves can find something there. His whole online persona is this compelling mix. Part motivational coach, part hardworking actor, part savvy businessman, with his tequila brand and other ventures, and part relatable family guy. It creates this really strong, authentic, and aspirational connection. He shows the grind required for success, making it feel less like magic and more like something achievable through grit.
It is fascinating how open he is about the tough routine, the personal bits. It seems to create a really strong connection. But I wonder, does that constant display of extreme intensity ever feel just unattainable for the average person? Or is it exactly that kind of superhuman drive that makes him so motivating?
That's a great distinction to make. Because yes, his intensity is extreme, but I think his genius is making it aspirational, not intimidating. He doesn't just show the perfect result, he shows the struggle, the 4 a.m. wake-ups, the sweat, the sheer effort.
Right, the earning it.
Exactly. That vulnerability of effort, let's call it, is what makes him relatable, paradoxically. He admits it's hard, which kind of validates everyone else's struggles. He's not really saying, be exactly like me. He's saying, find your own strength, put in the work. And the practical tips, like the workout details, help bridge that gap. They empower people to try aspects of what he does. Plus, his consistent messages about humility, hard work, being grateful, that reinforces this feeling of authenticity. It becomes less about having his physique and more about adopting his mindset, which has universal appeal. He's essentially selling discipline and self-improvement. Always popular.
Okay, and now we hit a tie. Tied for the next spot with an absolutely unbelievable 393 million followers, Kylie Jenner. Her Instagram story is pretty unique, too, going from the youngest sibling on a reality show to this massive beauty mogul.
Yeah, Kylie Jenner's account gives you this incredibly full picture. Her life, her huge Kylie Cosmetics empire, and her family life, especially with her 2 kids. Her Instagram strategy was absolutely fundamental in building that billion-dollar brand. She used it from a super young age to document everything her life, her style changes, and then, crucially, the launch and growth of her makeup line. She turned her massive following into a direct sales engine. And what's really interesting about Kylie's Instagram history is that she did, for a while anyway, hold the record for the most liked photo ever on Instagram. It was that picture of her newborn daughter, Stormi, which just shows the incredible power a single personal photo from a major celebrity can have. Almost unprecedented reach.
I remember that.
Right. But then comes this amazing, almost funny twist that perfectly captures how weird the internet can be. She later lost this position to a photo of an egg. Yes, an egg.
The egg. Still unbelievable.
Isn't it? The world record egg. It just perfectly shows the bizarre dynamic between super curated celebrity content and these spontaneous, sometimes just plain silly viral things that grab the internet's attention. Her feed still mixes the personal milestones with the business stuff, providing this unique template for modern influence, basically monetizing her entire identity.
That egg story is just peak internet culture, right?
Yeah.
This really does highlight that blend of personal life and huge business on these platforms and the crazy, unpredictable power of one single image. But what does that whole egg incident really tell us about how fragile or maybe just unpredictable online fame and attention are, especially for someone like Kylie, whose empire was built on carefully crafted content?
It's a really profound lesson, I think, in the difference between short-term virality and long-term influence. The egg thing showed that, yeah, celebrities like Kylie invest huge amounts in curating their image and building loyalty.
Yeah.
But the internet's collective focus can be totally random and drawn to novelty or irony or just a shared joke. It proved virality isn't always about aspiration. Sometimes it's just about a collective digital shrug, almost. A moment everyone participates in for laughs. For Kylie, sure, it was a temporary loss of that specific record, a cultural moment she didn't control. But crucially, it also showed how resilient her actual influence is. An egg might get more likes on one photo, but it didn't dent her follower count or the loyalty to her brand.
Good point.
It proved that while a single viral moment makes headlines, real sustained influence comes from having that consistent brand, that deep engagement, that compelling personal story, which Kylie definitely has. It's just a reminder that fame online has layers, and it's not always predictable.
Okay, moving on to another star with diverse talents. Number 4, Selena Gomez, with a truly impressive 418 million followers. Her journey has been very public, and her Instagram feels like it fosters a different kind of connection.
Yeah, Selena Gomez is a really strong example of someone using Instagram to showcase everything she does. Actress, musician, and founder of cosmetics brand Rare Beauty as the source list. But what seems to really set her apart, and perhaps connects with the source's critique implicitly, is her commitment to authenticity, even vulnerability. Unlike so many feeds that project constant perfection, Selena's been open about her struggles with mental health, her autoimmune disease, personal challenges, and that seems to create this really profound relatability with her audience.
Yeah, that feels different.
Her Instagram often becomes this space where fans maybe feel seen, understood. It goes beyond just entertainment. Her content mix reflects that. Sure, you get career highlights, acting, music, lots of Rare Beauty promotions, but those often tie into her message about self-acceptance and mental wellness. And then you get these genuine glimpses into her daily life that often feel quite unpolished, maybe, real. This mix of identities combined with this varied and deeply personal approach seems key to keeping that huge audience engaged and growing. She really weaves together her professional successes with these more humanizing personal moments. It fosters a connection that feels deeper than just standard celebrity worship.
That focus on vulnerability is incredibly powerful, especially now when everything online can feel so polished and perfect. How does she manage to share those really personal things without it feeling, I don't know, exploitative or just overwhelming? And how does Rare Beauty's whole mission fit into that authentic online self?
It's a very, very fine line to walk. I think Selena manages it by generally framing her vulnerability with a clear purpose. It's often about helping others, trying to destigmatize, talking about mental health, promoting self-acceptance. She's not just sharing raw emotion randomly. She's usually sharing with a point, with a message.
Okay, that makes sense.
And Rare Beauty is completely woven into that mission. It's not positioned just as makeup. It's about celebrating what makes you unique and, crucially, raising awareness and funds for mental health. A good chunk of Rare Beauty's profits go to mental health initiatives, and her Instagram often highlights that work. That gives her followers a reason to engage that goes beyond just buying lipstick. It turns being a consumer into feeling like you're part of a cause.
Right, connecting consumption with values.
Exactly. By linking her personal story, her brand, and her advocacy all together on Instagram, she creates this really cohesive and resonant presence that feels genuine. People aren't just fans of her songs or shows. They become supporters of her values, her journey. That makes the connection much deeper.
Okay, now let's make a big pivot to the absolute global giants of sport. Because these next few accounts, they really go beyond normal fandom. They almost represent national pride. And number 3, commanding a mind-boggling 506 million followers, Lionel Messi. Okay, let's unpack this one. How does a football genius become such a massive digital force?
Right, we're stepping into truly rarefied air here with the football legends. Messi's account, well, it's probably not surprising that it's mostly football content, right? Sharing those glimpses into life on and off the pitch. For an athlete like him, his Instagram is basically this curated record of his incredible career. Fans get an inside look at training, matches, big moments with clubs like PSG, Barcelona before that, now Inter Miami, and of course, crucially, the Argentinian national team. And the absolute high point of his Instagram presence, as the source highlights, was his most liked post, that series of photos celebrating Argentina winning the 2022 FIFA World Cup.
Oh yeah, that was everywhere.
Everywhere. That single event, that global sporting moment, just perfectly shows the incredible power of these huge international wins to drive insane social media engagement. It wasn't just a victory for Argentina, it was this moment felt and celebrated by hundreds of millions around the world. And Messi's post became like the digital heart of all that collective joy. So his account isn't just about football plays, it's about national identity, global sports narratives, the raw emotion of winning. It makes him this figure of huge cultural importance way beyond just the game itself.
It really makes you think how guys like Messi, at the absolute peak of their sport, just blow past traditional fan groups. But how does his Instagram grab so many people, even folks who aren't huge football fans? What's the secret to that incredibly broad appeal on this platform?
Well, I think it's a few things working together. First, just the sheer universality of football. It is the world's game. And Messi is, arguably its greatest modern player. His wins resonate globally like few others can. Second, his Instagram does offer these rare peeks into his personal life. You see moments with his wife Antonella, their kids. That humanizes the legend, makes him seem more relatable despite the global fame. That mix hero on the pitch, humble family man off it is very compelling. Third, it's the emotional power of those shared moments. That World Cup post wasn't just pictures. It was like the digital version of a global street party. Pure joy. It transcended language, culture. Even if you don't follow football closely, you get the scale of that achievement. And finally, his brand deals definitely play a part. Global companies use his image, which further expands his reach. His Instagram is basically this window into the life of a living icon, celebrating peak performance and deep national pride.
Okay, so if Messi is number 3, then it's probably no shock who's the runner-up. The second most followed person on Instagram, Cristiano Ronaldo, an absolutely staggering 661 million followers. Wow. The source mentioned 652 million when it was written, just shows you how fast these numbers climb. This is just a different stratosphere of digital power.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, Ronaldo's feed is dominated by, football. As the source says, it themes around football and his current team, Al Nassr, but also reflects his time at massive clubs like Real Madrid, Man United. His feed is this constant, almost relentless showcase of his dominance on the field, his intense training, his incredible physique, his life as one of the most famous, highest-paid athletes on earth. But here's a really interesting nugget the source points out, something that sets him apart. Ronaldo also holds the record for most liked Instagram comment when he wrote on Kylian Mbappe's Real Madrid announcement post, "My turn to watch."
I remember seeing that. It went everywhere.
Exactly. It's not just a random detail. It perfectly shows the insane viral power of just one seemingly casual comment from someone like him. It shows how even a tiny interaction, just a few words, can explode across the platform, become a huge talking point. It demonstrates his influence isn't just in his own polished posts, but even in how he engages elsewhere. His whole public image is built around peak performance, absolute dedication. That narrative clearly resonates with hundreds of millions.
That is truly remarkable. His influence just seems to seep into every corner of the platform, not just his own post. But for someone who seems so intensely focused on his professional image, on performance, how does he keep that massive engagement? How does he maintain perceived authenticity? Especially when you compare him to someone like Messi, who shares maybe more family stuff. Does their famous rivalry play out differently on their Instagrams?
Oh, the contrast is pretty clear and likely very strategic on both sides. While Messi, as you said, often shares more of that intimate family life, Ronaldo's Instagram is this nonstop projection of discipline, ambition, and physical power. His authenticity arguably comes from the undeniable, visible hard work he constantly puts on display. He's selling the dream of self-mastery, pushing limits, achieving greatness through sheer dedication.
Right, the CR7 brand is all about that.
Exactly. His family appears, yes, but often within that broader context of his aspirational lifestyle. The mansions, the cars, the success. As for the rivalry with Messi, it's mostly unspoken online, but it's always there under the surface, right? In the numbers, the comparisons. Both are surely aware of their digital metrics. Ronaldo, especially, really leverages his social media for direct fan engagement, but also heavily for his countless endorsements. Nike, Herbalife, you name it. His product placements, lifestyle shots, they're all seamlessly woven in, reflecting his status as this global marketing machine. That "my turn to watch" comment. Perfect example of his calculated confidence, his ability to generate massive buzz with seemingly little effort, cementing his status as a true digital phenomenon.
Okay, and now we've reached the summit. The #1 most followed account on all of Instagram. You might be guessing another huge celebrity, another athlete, maybe a global pop star. But here's where it gets really interesting. The top spot.
Hmm.
It's held by Instagram itself, the platform's own account, with an absolutely astounding 693 million followers. That's almost Meta, a Meta level of dominant.
It is the ultimate meta winner, isn't it? Just fascinating. The app's own account being the most followed. It says so much about how these digital platforms work and their content strategy. It's kind of brilliant in how simple it is. The source says it shares reposts of memes, artists, and other creators. So basically, Instagram uses its main account to promote its own community. It acts like a curator for the most viral, the most creative, the most engaging stuff being made by its users.
Huh. So it's showcasing its users.
Exactly. It's not just self-promotion in the traditional sense. It's celebrating the whole ecosystem of the platform. It highlights what makes Instagram feel vibrant and interesting in the first place. It shows off unique art, funny memes, cool creators, amazing photography, big cultural moments, all drawn from its user base. It's proof of the platform's, well, omnipresence, its ability to constantly find new content from its users, and its strategic position as the ultimate content hub. It's constantly curating and boosting the creativity happening within its own walls. It shows that the platform itself is a massive influencer, setting trends, pointing to the next big thing. It's basically its own best advertisement by showing off its users.
It really makes you think about that meta-narrative. A digital platform becomes its own biggest star, not by talking about itself, but by shining a spotlight on the creativity of its users. What does it really tell us about how platforms might grow in the future and the relationship between us, the users, and the platforms we use every day? Is that a sustainable way to build a digital community?
I think it's a really powerful statement about what a platform is now. It's not just infrastructure, it's a community and it's a curator. It suggests that maybe in this digital era, a platform's biggest success comes from its ability to foster and then amplify user-generated content. It becomes the self-powering ecosystem of creativity and trends.
Right, it feeds itself.
Precisely. And it's highly sustainable because the content is always new, always changing, driven by millions of active users around the world. The main Instagram account acts like this dynamic showcase. It demonstrates the potential of the platform. It encourages users, hey, make cool stuff. Maybe you'll get featured, which feeds more engagement, more innovation, and marks a shift, I think. Platforms aren't just the stage anymore. They're also major players on the stage, shaping culture, celebrating their own community, and by doing that, securing their own dominance and growth. It's this brilliant, self-reinforcing marketing loop.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, it really is remarkable when you look back at the sheer diversity in this top 10. We've gone from sports legends to music icons, beauty moguls, fitness gurus. And yeah, the platform itself right at the top, it's quite a snapshot of what holds our attention online.
Absolutely. And if you connect it to the bigger picture, like we try to do, these accounts aren't just names on a list. They really represent this evolving landscape of fame, influence, how we connect or think we connect in the digital age. They show that deep-seated curiosity we have, our desire to engage with aspirational figures or get insight into lives totally different from ours, or sometimes just be entertained. How these individuals and Instagram itself use the platform tells a really powerful story about what grabs global attention today and how these digital spaces are fundamentally reshaping our social lives, our economies, even how we understand fame.
And there were definitely some of those aha moments along the way, weren't there? Like the story of that random egg photo knocking a celebrity off the top spot for likes. Yeah. Or just the sheer simple brilliance of Instagram being #1 by celebrating its own users. It just highlights how unpredictable internet fame can be, how sometimes the strangest things capture the world's imagination.
And that does raise a pretty important question, I think, for all of us to chew on. What does it actually mean when just a handful of accounts have an audience bigger than the entire population of many countries? How do these massive digital empires, whether they're built on personal brands, athletic skill, entertainment, or just platform curation, how do they shape our view of fame, community, maybe even reality itself? It really pushes us to think about the power dynamics in this digital world and what it means for how information spreads, how culture evolves.
It really does. And maybe on that thought, we can encourage you, listening in. Take a second to think about what drives your own engagement on social media. What are you looking for on these platforms? And how do the accounts you choose to follow maybe shape your perspective, your understanding of the world?